says about all the psalms from the Torah, it says, Kol Hashirim Kodesh, all the songs are holy, but Shir Shirim Kodesh HaKodeshim, it's Kodesh of all the Kodeshim. And needless to say that there's unbelievable secrets and wisdom behind Shir Shirim. Needless to say, it was written by Shlomo HaMelech in Ruach HaKodesh. And when you read it, I know it sounds a little bit poetic and doesn't make much sense, but the meaning behind of it is unbelievable. There's different interpretations. There's actually, if you remember last year when we started learning here with the men, we used to learn every morning discourses from the Baal HaTanya, Rabbi Shneur Zalman from Liadi. And he has dozens of Hasidic discourses about Shir Shirim with unbelievable depths that is highly recommended to anybody to go and learn the Midrashim of Shir Shirim and the Zohar of Shir Shirim. There's so much about Shir Shirim, only 8 chapters, that each chapter has a few verses. The whole thing takes 5-6 minutes, 7 minutes, 8 minutes if you read slow, 15 minutes if you don't barely read. But and Chas v'Shalom, I don't know why, it's so neglected. And maybe in the merit of now learning Shir Shirim, more people will start reading it. I know there are certain things that are popular for people to read. People read every day Tikkun HaKlali or Nishmat Kol Chai or many other things. So that's one thing that definitely should be added to the daily agenda, or at least once a week. I mean, there are different times when it's the most auspicious time to read Shir Shirim, which is Erev Shabbat or during Shabbat, during Pesach, after Leil Seder. But maybe we'll do it another time, a class about all around that. But today we'll start learning from the book, the Zera Shimshon. Shir Shirim is divided into 8 sections. It's not really chapters, but it's 8 sections. Each one is not more than 15-20 verses. Some of them are shorter, some of them are longer. In the Zera Shimshon, he doesn't really interpret every little part. There's other sources that go more deep into every little part of the interpretation, but at least some of it will go, and we'll start Be'ezrat Hashem, and I will read slowly and clear and explain as much as I can, and hopefully, I don't know if we'll be able to go through every class. It might have to be, that's why I said a series is better than a course, because we might not get to the conclusion in one class. We might have to do 2-3 classes on one topic. But nevertheless, let's start. That way we'll be closer to finishing. So, part of Shir Shirim is about the relationship between God and the nation of Israel. And there's one interpretation that points out how it's kind of a conversation going back and forth between Hashem and Bnei Israel, which in Shir Shirim it's not called Bnei Israel, it's called Knesset Israel. And right now we are scattered around the world. We're also emotionally, physically and mentally separated from each other by baseless hate. This is one of the reasons why we're in exile of Sinat Chiram. But when we are united, we are so powerful that that's where it proves, excuse my language, the stupidity that we are separated. There was only one time in history that we were fully united, and the result was that we got the Torah and we got engaged to the Master of the universe. And that time was Matan Torah. Other than that, never as this nation has been in unity. Always with disagreements, always with separation, and always with arguments and fighting. The only time when we were together, we came to Mount Sinai. It says Vayichan Sham, and we parked there. Ish echad belev echad. Like one person and like one heart. Together as one heart. So what was the result? Hashem came down to the mountain, gave us the Torah, and that was the engagement party between us and the Kadosh Baruch Hu. And the actual wedding will be when Mashiach is going to come. And this explains, we're not going to do that now in depth, but many people question why we're not allowed to intermarry, to marry outside of the faith. This is one of the main reasons, because we are engaged to the Master of the universe. And imagine now a man and a woman are engaged, and the woman goes off and marries somebody else. So I don't know how it is in other faiths. In Judaism, you're not allowed to do such a thing. If now I'm engaged to a woman, and I go to wherever I go to learn or whatever, and she goes to continue doing her thing, she can't go and marry another woman, she's engaged. This is called in Hebrew arusa. Arusa is engaged, and arusa has the same root in Hebrew of asura. She's prohibited, nobody's allowed to touch her. If you've been to a wedding lately and listened to what the rabbi said, so the rabbi says, matir et asurot, he unties the ones who are not allowed to be married. So we are the fiancé of Hashem. So how can you go and marry somebody else now when you're engaged to the master of the universe? Can you imagine the slap to the face you give to God when you go and marry somebody else? So this is one of the many reasons, there are many others, but this is one of the many reasons, at least the ones that makes more sense, why we're not allowed to intermarry. We're not allowed to marry outside of the faith. But nevertheless, since we went out of our way to be united as a nation, and this is not 20 people and not 20,000 people, it was about 3 million people. 3 to 4 million people were standing at Har Sinai. But nevertheless, since we were united and we were together with no machloket, with no disagreement, then the result was that we got the Torah. And we got it first as the 10 Commandments, we got Luchot HaBrit, and later on, as a result from that, we got the entire Torah. Shir Shirim is kind of touching that topic, that we got the 10 Commandments. It's also talking about the Yomim Tovim that we got. But nevertheless, it starts as follows. Netinat HaLuchot ve'aTorah b'Sinai. We have received the tablets, and not an iPad, rather the real tablets. And we also received the Torah at the same auspicious moment in Sinai. So not only that, after that we also was a party, we were rejoicing, and up until today we commemorate that day on Shavuot. So that's when we got the Torah, we got the tablets, but up until today, well, how do we commemorate that? Then it's a Yom Tov and we do a meal, a Suda. This is called the Atzeret. Atzeret means that you stop everything, we don't work, we don't do nothing. What do? We read from the Torah, we go and pray in a Bet Knesset, we stay up all night, and then the highlight of the day, amen to that, let's eat. So we sit down and we eat. So this is called the Simchat Yom Tov, and we have a meal. Now comes the question, and this is where we start. Ma garam liYisrael shichechat haTorah shelamdu. If you remember, when we got the Torah, that's a big occasion. I don't think many people remember that. Probably maybe nobody remembers that, but now they decided to remind us. They made a website, I saw you at Sinai. I don't remember, I don't know who you saw. Maybe you saw me, maybe not. That's a very famous way that Jews, when they meet each other, and say, oh, you're familiar. I saw you somewhere. Ah, well, I stood behind you in Sinai. But with all jokes aside, we were in Har Sinai. We were all there. Just to be technically explain what's going on there, because a lot of people don't really realize or picture it. I told you the other day, when you learn Torah, you have to have a very good imagination. 2 days ago, we learned about the argument about the water. So I told you, Moshe Rabbeinu, it was Yud Nisan. Yud Nisan, Miriam dies. Moshe and Aaron, they go to the tent to start sitting Shiva. They hear noise, Moshe goes out, and everybody's screaming, we don't have any water. Miriam died, the well disappeared. So I was explaining, it wasn't 5 people standing there, water, water, water. This is not what was going on. It was kind of like a 50,000 people riot, burning things, turning things upside down. You see, there's now riots with the Ethiopians, something like that. They all went out to the streets making riots. We want water. You have to have a good imagination when you read the Torah. And this is not, it was a disagreement. I'm just saying 50,000. Could be thousands of people in the streets and terrorizing, burning tents down, and because they want water. Same thing here. Matan Torah, people thinking, okay, Matan Torah, Moshe goes up in the mountain, 4th of July, some fireworks. If you could imagine how it looked, if we would have to put it in a form of a movie, I don't know if Hollywood can produce such special effects, what was going on in Matan Torah. But nevertheless, technically, just to explain the situation, Imagine a mountain. The mountain is very tall. Moshe Rabbeinu goes up on the mountain. Aaron and the Shivim Zkenim, they go up to a certain level of the mountain. The rest is surrounding the mountain. But the important part to remember, or to know, I shouldn't say remember, most people don't even know. People think that in Matan Torah we were standing like this in front of a screen, like a big drive-in. Remember in the olden days there was a drive-in. You tell now little kids drive-in, they're like, what type of app is that? So when we were kids, there was a drive-in. You would go with a car to a field, and there was a huge screen, and you would sit in the car and buy popcorn or whatever, and do some other things. But nevertheless, you go to the drive-in. And I once, not too long ago, I told my kids a drive-in. They're like, where do you drive? No, you don't drive. You just look. So which app is that? Is it Netflix? Where? So nevertheless, people think Matan Torah was like a drive-in, that you're looking at a big screen. We were standing around the mountain like a diameter, like a circle. So the miracle was that imagine now, I'm going to flip my hands, but imagine now the mountain. The miracle was that the ones who stood on this side of the mountain, they saw the show. The ones who stood on the other side of the mountain saw the exact same thing. So it was like a 360-degree show, that anywhere you stood around the mountain, you saw the exact same thing. No special effects or any type of screen can do such a thing. Can you imagine about 3 to 4 million people standing around the mountain? And this is, even Madonna doesn't get 3 million people in a show. You know what it is to stand 3 million people in the desert? Can you imagine the production? So now they want to make a party with 50,000 people. It's a 3 months production. Just imagine. So the miracle was that they were all standing around the mountain and they saw the exact same show, 360-degree screen. That's one of the biggest miracles that people don't realize that that's how it was, besides the fact that the first diameter around the mountain was the nation of the Jews, but after that there were more rings, like in a stadium, in the further away gates, the rest of the nations were standing there. So the nations were also in Matan Torah, just that they were a little step behind. They couldn't see well and couldn't hear well. And we had to turn around and tell them what we saw. That's one of the many reasons why the first, excuse me?
So the Torah is for everybody.
The Torah is for everybody. And the first commandment that we got after we received the Torah is V'ayitem li mamlechet kohanim v'goy kadosh. You should be to me a nation of priests and a holy nation. So it uses the word goy kadosh. I know if people hear the word goy, they think it's a derogatory word against the nations. It's not a derogatory word. Goy means body. So, and the Torah says you should be a holy body, a goy kadosh. What does it mean, holy? Not that we hover over the ground and we have rings over our heads. Holy means separated. You should be separated, and you will have a certain job in this world. I will give you 613 mitzvot, and I will give the nations 70 mitzvot, which is brought down in the Torah as 7 mitzvot. Go to my website, you see how it's broken down into 70 mitzvot. It's our job, the Jews, to turn to the nations and to teach them their part of the Torah. And the Torah belongs to everybody. And the mistake that what we did in the last 3,000 years is that, like my 3-year-old, if we have guests and people come over, she holds the toy. This is my toy. Well, why don't you share your toy? No, it's mine. So that's what we've been doing as a nation for the last 3,000 years. It's mine. We have to share it. And this is the first commandment we got after we got the Torah. Go to Parashat Yitro, right after receiving the 10 commandments. It tells us, V'ayitem li mamlechet kohanim v'goy kadosh. You should be a light to the nations. But nevertheless, we're kind of drifting off the subject, even though it's important things to know. But the show that was going on Matan Torah, up until Mashiach, nothing can even compare to that. When Mashiach will come, we'll have a rerun and will probably be better. But nevertheless, the show was unbelievable. At the time of Matan Torah, they got all the Torah, but right away happened a devastating part and they forgot everything. And here he brings a question. This is how we started. He says, Ma garam liYisrael, what caused Bnei Israel shichechat Torah? They totally forgot the Torah. They received the Torah, but then they forgot it. Now, up until today, we suffer from that. 99.9 people 99.9% of people, they go to a Torah class, you understand every word I say, go out of the door, let's see you repeating the class. You don't. You forget everything. You remember maybe something. When I became observant and I was a fresh learner, my wife would tell me, go and learn Torah. Okay, good husband does what the wife says. I would go to the Shir Torah, I would come home and she would tell me, no, what did you learn? We learned Torah. No, but what did you learn? We learned about the parasha. But what? It was so much. But tell me something. It's too deep, you're not going to understand. Tell me something. I'll tell you on Shabbat. And I'm like, I don't even remember one thing what the rabbi said. So, and that happens to everybody. There's a thick padding around here, and you might understand it as it's being said. But the second you go out of the door, what was he saying? You know that literally yesterday, after our class in the evening, I was on the way out. A couple comes in and she tells me, oh, I watch your videos online, I thank you so much, blah, blah. We get into a conversation and she tells me, I came to ask you a question because in one of your videos you said A, B, and C. Why? I said, I think you're confusing me with somebody else. I never said such a thing. You sure? I said, well, I know what I say and what I don't say. That's why I record everything, because people tell me, but you said this and that. No, I didn't. Not too long ago, somebody emailed me and he accused me of saying something. I said, I never said such a thing. Oh yeah, I remember it was in a lecture in Queens, you said this and that. And I was like, I never said such a thing. So, Baruch Hashem, I record everything. 80% of what I teach never went online even, but it's still recorded. And I told the person, gave us the date and the location. We pulled out the video. Here's the video. Now see if I really said that or not. But nevertheless, so she said, but I heard you say this and that. I said, I never said such a thing. She's like, well, I'm happy that I came because I remembered you said such a thing. And of course, what she thought I said was completely wrong. So we hear something, we go out of the class, and we forget. And then, you know how many times I got that claim, but you said so, or Rabbi so-and-so said this and that. Well, I don't think he said that. I think you misunderstood him. But we have a certain disease that we don't remember the Torah. Go to any other lecture, you'll remember it inside out. Watch a movie, you'll memorize the lines like as if you were part of the cast. Memorize one Mishnah, what, who, why? So sometimes, you know what you see it with kids. They will repeat a scene from a movie. You'll correct me if I'm saying it wrong. Verbatim, that's how you say?
Yeah, verbatim.
Verbatim, word by word. Now let's see you memorize a Mishnah. Don't even know how to say two words together. So yeah, songs. You listen to a song on the radio, you know all the lyrics. Let's see you sing the Shir Shirim off by heart. But nevertheless, we have a certain problem that something's going on in the memory when it comes to Torah. And it's not you, it's something that happened. So here, he is questioning, Ma garam liYisrael shichachat haTorah shelamdu. What caused the nation of Israel to forget the Torah? Now let's start. B'Midrash Rabbah, in the Midrash, on Shir Hashirim, this can be found in chapter Aleph, A, verse 15. And it says on the verse, Yishakeni min shikot pihu. This is what the verse says in Shir Hashirim. Yesterday we talked about it in the Zohar class. Yishakeni, he will give me a kiss. Mineshikot, kisses, pihu is his mouth. Yesterday we went a little bit in the Zohar class about explaining what does it mean, neshikin, the idea of kissing. But nevertheless, it says as following, Amar Rabbi Yehuda. Rabbi Yehuda said, B'sha'a sheshamu Israel, when the nation of Israel stood in Har Sinai, you know what they heard? They heard the first dibra, the first commandment. Anochi havaya elokecha. 3 words. Anochi havaya elokecha is 3 levels in godly revelation. Elokecha corresponds to Elokim. Elokecha is your God. Elokim is the godly revelation in this world, is what we are able to see and perceive. And in our simple words, this is called nature. The numerical value of the word teva, nature, is 86. It's the same numerical value of Hashem's name, Elokim. Elokim We call it a name. I will now describe it as a garment. God puts him on himself a garment. So we don't see God. What do we see? We see nature. If I now put outfit of a policeman, then you will think I'm a policeman. If I will put now an outfit of a clown, then you will think I'm a clown. So the outfit, the garment, that's how I see. I don't see the inside. God puts on himself a garment. That garment is called Elokim. Elokim means nature. So we see trees and a sky and water and animals and colors, and we see all sorts of things, even more than what we see physically. So there's 4 seasons, there's a winter, there's a summer. That's nature. So why is nature so alive? Because there's something alive behind it. It's just a garment that covers God. So this is one level of godly revelation called Elokim. The next level above that is called Yud-Kei Vav-Kei. Yud-Kei Vav-Kei, if you pronounce it in words, we're not allowed to say the name of Hashem, but it's the letter Yud, the letter Hey, the letter Vav, and the letter Hey. We spoke about that before in yesterday about the combinations of the letters. If you break the word of Yud-Kei Vav-Kei, is Haya, Hove, Yihiyeh. Was, is, will be. Past, present, future. This level of godly revelation is above our capability to understand. A human creature cannot understand how the past, the present, and the future is the same thing. For us, it's completely 3 different dimensions. We can't go back to the past, and we can't see the future. Any simple soul angel, they go out of the physical world, right away they're in the realm, in the level of the godly revelation of past, present, future. If you ever heard my personal experience, when I had my clinical death, I say that the girl that was with me, I saw her entire past, I saw what's going on in the present, and I saw into the future, the potential future. And the question, a lot of people ask me, how can you see the past, the present, and the future? So the answer is very, very simple. The soul is unlimited. The soul is the most sophisticated being. Our mind cannot even fathom the sophistication of the soul. One of the abilities of the soul is to stand in one place and to see the other side of the universe, like Moshe Rabbeinu. A soul can listen to 50,000 conversations at the same time and understand and hear everything simultaneously. And the soul can see the past, the present, the future. The soul is not limited. Once you put the soul in a body, since the body is limited, then the capabilities of the soul is limited, and the soul can only see a certain distance, can only walk a certain distance, can only live in the present, and so forth. Above that level corresponds to the godly revelation called Yud-Kei Vav-Kei, and above that there's another godly revelation that's called Anochi. So in the first commandment, there's Anochi, Havaya, Elokecha. 3 levels in godly revelation. This is the first 3 words that they heard in Matan Torah. Havaya, Yud-Kei Vav-Kei. Anochi is the first one. Anochi means, the translation to Anochi means me. But that's a level in godliness that is only Hashem. Hashem Echad Ushmo Echad. Yud-Kei Vav-Kei, that's already what's called a chiluk, a division. Anochi, there's no division. It's only Hashem. And this is a level that our mind and almost any creature's mind or comprehension can never relate to such a level. But we are kind of trying to concentrate on Elokim. Maybe some of us can have a little bit of an awareness and understanding of Yud-Kei Vav-Kei. But nevertheless, the first 3 words in the 10 commandments is Anochi, Havaya, Elokecha. Hashem had to come down to the world, ascend himself into the world, from the highest of all levels to the lowest of all levels. That's what they heard in Matan Torah. Let's go one step back. Amar Rabbi Yehuda, B'sha'ah sheshamu Yisrael b'Har Sinai et hadibur harishon. When the nation of Israel heard in Mount Sinai the first commandment, what was it? Anochi Havaya Elokecha. This can be found in the book of Shmot, Parashat Yitro, chapter 20, verse 2. You know who made that announcement? God. God himself said, Anochi Havaya Elokecha. Me'akadosh Baruch Hu atzmo. Can you imagine hearing Hashem? Now, then they heard Hashem, they were captured into trembling fear. They told Moshe Rabbeinu, no, please, you talk to us. We can't hear this voice. They just heard the voice, they all died. So, they heard it directly from the Kadosh Baruch Hu. What was the result? Nitka. The sound became what's called takua. When you take a nail and you bang it into the wall, now the nail is stuck in the wall. This is called takua. So he says, Nitka, haya takua v'kavua. Kadosh Baruch Hu took the Torah like a nail and a hammer and banged it into the wall. How would you say in English? In English you say stuck maybe, but in Hebrew it's called takua. The Kadosh Baruch Hu took the Torah and he stick it into us. I mean, my analogy is that you take a hammer and a nail and you stick it into the wall. He says here, Nitka, haya takua v'kavua Talmud Torah belibam shel Israel. The limud, the learning of the Torah, and the Torah itself was stuck in the heart of the nation of Israel. והיו למדים ולא היו משתכחים. What was the result? They would learn the Torah and not forget. Can you imagine reading a book and you remember it? Wishful thinking. Then you would be learning all day long and you would be walking libraries. Now there are some people that they still have that ability. I know of a certain rabbi and he knows the Torah word for word, not the Torah, everything. Anything you ask him, he'll quote to you exactly where it is. Unbelievable. The rabbi in the shul, in the yeshiva where I learned, was kind of the same. You would tell him a verse, a sentence, he will tell you exactly where it is. He will tell you this is in Tractate Chulin, page 72, 3 lines from the bottom, the third word from the right. But nevertheless, we had a genius, a great tzaddik in our generation. Rav Ovadia Yosef was a walking library. He knew the whole Torah inside out, backwards and forth, everything. Photographic memory. So some people, they know that. You tell them one thing, they'll tell you exactly where it is, which book, which line, which page. This is mamash a genius, a photographic memory. But nevertheless, at the time of Matan Torah, we were in that level. The Torah was so stuck into our soul that it was literally part of our body, part of our soul. Lo hayu shochachim et haTorah shelamdu. They never forgot what they learned. Psh, what a level. Vekevan, but right after that, she'acharei sheshamu et hadibur hasheni, right after Anochi Hava Elokecha came another dibra, another commandment. Lo yeh lecha elokim acharim al panai. You should not have another God. Right away, באו אצל משה ואמרו, Moshe, this is way too much for us. We cannot contain this voice. And they said, אמרו לו, שהם יראים לשמוע את שאר הדיברות מפי הקדוש ברוך הוא. We're afraid, Moshe, please, this is very scary for us. I can guarantee to you that today, any human being will hear for 1 second one word of the Kadosh Baruch Hu, they will faint or die on the spot. That's what happened to them in Matan Torah. They heard God's voice, they all died. Parcha nishmatam. After every word, their soul jumped out of the body from the fear. So they told Moshe Rabbeinu, listen, this is not for us. We cannot contain such a voice from the Kadosh Baruch Hu. Please, you listen to Hashem and then tell it to us. As it says, and this can be found again, Parashat Yitro, the book of Shmot, chapter 20, verse 16, Daber ata imano, you talk to us, v'nishma, and we will listen to you. Ve'al yedaber imanu Elokim. We don't want Elokim to talk to us. They didn't even realize that it's coming from a higher level. They said Elokim. Ve'daber itanu Elokim. Why? Pen namut, that we're not going to die. Can you imagine the experience? Hashem says, Anochi, whoop, they all die. They all is being placed back in the body. Havaya, whoop, they all die. Just imagine the power. Now, to some extent, that's something I definitely don't want to sidetrack right now, but we're all going to have to go through this very soon when Mashiach comes. Now, exactly when it's going to happen, we don't know. How it's going to happen, we don't know. But there is going to be a part that we're all going to die. Because in order for us to get new bodies, Tchiyat HaMetim, in order for us to accept the change of the universe and so forth, there will be at some point that we all die. It's not going to be painful, it's not going to be bad. But we're going to have to die. First of all, one of the reasons they had to die in Matan Torah is because they had to be atoned for certain sins. Atone. That's what you say? Atone? Atone. So they had to be atoned for certain sins. Some things you can make tshuva in this world and you'll get your kapara, atonement in this world. Some things you don't. For the sin of Chilul Hashem, desecrating the name of Hashem, you have to die for that. You can do tshuva in this world, but it wasn't forgiven. It wasn't atoned. You have to die, and the death will be the kapara for Chilul Hashem. It's one of the most severe sins to do, is to desecrate Hashem's name. Nevertheless, they had to die, so that sin will be forgiven. But for them it was a traumatic experience, and they said to Moshe, you talk to Hashem, we can't contain this. That we don't want Elohim to talk to us. Why? Because we're going to die. Chazru liyot lemedim u'mishtakchim. Now what was the result from that? They would learn, right away forget. Learn, right away forget. Why? ששוב לא היה להם המעלה שזכו בה במתן תורה. They lost the advantage, the quality, the ability that they received in the beginning to learn and to have it stay there. שהיו זוכרים לימודים. They used to learn everything and remember. עד כאן לשונו. This is what the Midrash says. So just to repeat it, they were able to receive the Torah, remember it. Since there was too much to contain this voice of the Kadosh Baruch Hu, they asked Moshe Rabbeinu, you listen and you tell us. They lost the ability to remember the Torah. Now, he says, נראה מכאן, it seems from here, שהשכחה באה משום שאמרו דבר את האיתנו. What will you understand from that? That the reason why we forget the Torah is because we said to Moshe Rabbeinu, you talk to us, right? Seemingly, לכאורה, זה סותר למען דאמרינן. This is contradicting what our sages have said in the Talmud, specifically in the tractate called Eruvin. This can be found in page 20, Nundaled 54a, chapter 5. שירד משה רבנו מן השמיים, when Moshe Rabbeinu came down from the heavens, ובידיו לוחות הברית, and he was holding the tablets. שהיו כתובים בהם 10 הדיברות. On the tablets it says the 10 commandments. וראה שחטאו ישראל בעגל, he saw the sin of the golden calf. What did he do? He broke the tablets. Now, I don't know necessarily if he actually got upset and threw them on the floor. There's a commentary that says that the letters from the tablets left the tablets, and now they became so heavy that they fell out of his hands. Because the miracle in the tablets is not what you see in most of the synagogues around the world. Most of the synagogues around the world, or go now and do the tablets on Google, it will have a rounded tip on the top, which is completely wrong. And most of the synagogues in the world, they have it either on the curtain, either above the Sefer, the Aron Kodesh, or whatever it is, and you have like kind of a rectangle, and on the top like a kippah, like a round top. This is not correct. The top was flat completely, and the tablets were rectangle, equal size. So the width and the depth was the exact same thing. They weren't flat like they put now. They make a picture of Moshe Rabbeinu standing like this with the tablets. It's incorrect. The Talmud tells us exactly how the tablets were, the size and so forth. But if you would flip the tablet, like for example like this, the width of it, the depth was exactly like the size, or same size, right? Like a cube, exactly, but a long cube, rectangle. The miracle was that the letters were inside, hovering. They were hovering in the air. Now, in a letter, in mold the letters, there's not a problem because there's always somewhere to catch it. But in the letter Samech and in the letter Mem Sofit, there's nothing to catch it, so to say. You understand what I'm saying? So the letters were hovering in the air. So all the letters were hovering in the air in the tablets, and if you would turn the tablet, it's all different. It's not that you see the name and then turn it so you see the back. Any direction you would turn it, you see the front of it. A miraculous sight. Nevertheless, the Zohar says that when Moshe Rabbeinu came down, the letters left, the Kedusha, the holiness, left the tablets, and they became heavy and fell down and broke. I don't think that Moshe Rabbeinu got upset and he smashed them. That's at least my opinion. But nevertheless, It says, but why am I saying that? Because the Torah says Vayishberem, and he broke them. He didn't break them. Moshe Rabbeinu was not a hothead. But nevertheless, Amar Rabbi Eliezer, said Rabbi Eliezer, Ilmalei lo nishtabru aluchot harishonot, if Moshe Rabbeinu would not break the first tablets, when he came down from the mountain after 40 days, lo nishtakha Torah miYisrael, then the Torah would not be forgotten from the minds and the souls of the nation of Israel. Since Mishum shenishtabru, since the tablets broke, lo hayu bnei Israel zochrim et ma shelamdu, then they didn't remember what they learned. Ve'efsidu ma'ala hazo shezachu b'matan Torah. They lost this great talent, this great ability, what they gained at the time of Matan Torah. So what I understand from that for 40 days they had it. 40 days they were able to remember the Torah. Then when Moshe Rabbeinu comes down from the mountain, the tablets break, then they forget. Lo nishtabru luchot harishonot, if Moshe Rabbeinu would not break the tablets when he went down from the mountain after 40 days, lo nishtakha Torah miYisrael, then the Torah would not be forgotten from the nation of Israel. Mishum shenishtabru, since they were broken, the tablets, lo hayu bnei Israel zochrim et ma shelamdu. Then from that point on, the nation of Israel forgot everything they learned. Like us, we go into the class, we learn, we go out, we forget. Ve'efsidu ma'ala zo shezachu b'matan Torah. And they lost this great advantage that they got in Matan Torah, the giving of the Torah. הרי ששכחת התורה התחילה רק משעת שבירת הלוחות. Meaning, and this is the opinion of the Talmud, that the forgetting of the Torah started only 40 days later when the tablets were broken. Now we need to understand that. V'kashe, this is hard to understand. There's a question. Deha, we see that it's already explained in the Midrash, shekodem shvirat haluchot, before the breaking of the tablets, Nami was also kvar ba'a shichecha, that the forgiveness already came. How? Mishum shebematan Torah amru bnei Israel leMoshe daber ata imanu. Since the nation of Israel told Moshe Rabbeinu, you speak to us, then already they forgot. So now we have a contradiction. We have a contradiction between two opinions. One opinion says that the second that they said, daber ata imanu, you talk to us Moshe Rabbeinu, they couldn't fathom the voice of Hashem, right away they lost the ability to remember the Torah. Now, as usual in the text, there's going to be a disagreement. Comes the Talmud and says, whoa, no. The fact that they started forgetting came only 40 days later when Moshe Rabbeinu came down from the mountain. He broke the tablets, they got broken, whatever it was, once he saw the golden calf, and that's what caused them to forget the Torah. So now we have two opinions. One is the Midrash, one is the Talmud. What is the difference, and now which one do we go by? And first of all, what really happened there? And then of course we want to know, what does that got to do with me? So all that we're already, the answer we're going to have to give in the next class. We ran out of time unfortunately. But in the next class we'll explain the importance of, first of all, we want to know what happened. When was the time that we forgot the Torah? And more than that, I want to know what I can do so I won't forget the Torah. That I will be the ones who remember the Torah. And more than that, what is that going to do with me? Why is these things important to me? Teach me halacha, what I need to do. Why do I need to know all this argument? Why is there always arguments? But nevertheless, there's many secrets behind it, more practical things. Bezrat Hashem, in the next class, I'm sorry we ran out of time. We had to do a little bit of an introduction and we got distracted a little bit, but all for a good reason. And Bezrat Hashem, the rest will continue next time. רבי חנניה בן הקשיא אומר, רצה הקדוש ברוך הוא לזכות את ישראל, לפיכך הרבה להם תורה ומצוות, שנאמר אדוני חפץ למען צדקו, יגדיל תורה ויאדיר.